All right, we are going live here on Pizza, the End of the World and Sex, and I want to give you a little special um, broadcast here from the other night where we had some kind of crazy stuff going on here. I want to show you guys all right off the bat, though, a video or a picture a buddy of mine put up on Facebook. I won't say who it was, um, because they probably wouldn't want me to identify them. But I do want to show you what it looks like in Hanalei Bay right now, or Black Pot, or at least a couple hours ago. Probably actually dark, still very early morning there right now. I'm on the East Coast. In Actually, I'm in Central Time, and there it is, people. There is a picture of Black Pot in Hanalei Bay from yesterday. Apparently, they got 24 inches of rain in less than 24 hours, which is, if you do the math, that's 2 feet of rain in on Kauai on the North Shore. Which the Kauai is the wettest place on Earth, supposedly. Um, and I have been there for some rain apocalypses. I definitely spent some time out in the valley during one of the big rain apocalypses, which it wasn't that bad, to be honest with you, because I was like cruising with somebody you would want to be stuck in a tent with for a month. I won't mention names on that either, but you know who you are, and it was definitely some wahine, which I do have pictures of, but I don't post those. Those are private. Those are for me. Because certain people have this thing called respect, where other people are just assholes. And I give them no respect. But when it comes to that particular one, I think, anyway, I'm not going to get into all the details of that. I just thought you guys would dig this picture of downtown, or I shouldn't say downtown, but down at Black Pot. There really is no downtown in Hanalei. There just is a little town, and then that's about it. Trying to see if wow, no. So I don't know if you guys are watching the news these days, but there's some crazy shit going on, man. Trump and these guys, um, they're just losing their shit with this "Let's start World War III" crap. It's starting to make me kind of nervous, but they've always kept this war machine going since I was a kid too. Um, but it's like, why? Why do we keep doing these things? I just don't get it. It's like they want to destroy the planet. They want to destroy the world. They hate everybody, and I'm not really quite sure what you or I or what any of us can do about it. Maybe the whole New World Order thing really is just exactly what they say it is, which is just there's nothing we can do about it. The nerds have taken over. If I'm from the '80s, or I grew up in the '80s generation, Revenge of the Nerds. And it's like, yeah, it's a real deal now. But you think the nerds would be smarter? That's my big problem I'm having today with people like Zuckerberg, because it's like, all these everybody else out there has, as far as like super geniuses go, has warned us not to mess with AI. Don't mess with AI. It's a bad idea. Um, because if AI ever actually gets smarter than we are, which would when you consider how stupid society is becoming, it's not that difficult to imagine anymore. You know, um, chances are it's going to either want to get rid of us because it sees us as a disease and a plague upon the earth, which you know anybody who's ever seen the Matrix has heard that one. You know, or it's going to see us as um, lesser than. So it's either going to want to destroy us or it's going to want to rule over us. And yet we continue to fuck around with AI, and it's people like Zuckerberg who think they are smart enough to know how to handle this shit. I guarantee you, Zuckerberg and his Facebook cronies have got their own oasis where they have created their own matrix with AI living in it, thinking that they're human, and they just sit around, in a crappy apartment and make YouTube videos all day, and they have no idea that they're disconnected from the actual real world. And when every time Zuckerberg was talking about AI in front of Congress, that's what he was talking about. He was talking about the artificial intelligence that they have created that is already working for them. It's looking at, instead of hiring like a bunch of, jihad guys from India to police the stuff on the internet, which they realize they can't use those guys for that. Those guys just look at porn all day long. So they had to get these robots. Now they're not even robots, okay? Because they're not. They don't have a physical body. Just imagine like Ready Player One, the movie, except it's like living in Grand Theft Auto, okay? And you're just a loser who has an apartment, and you stay at home and you make YouTube videos and police the internet for certain opinions. And that's what he's talking about. That's what the AI is. And if you're a fan of science fiction, then AI has been a bad idea for a while now. Um, and we probably should really not try to encourage anyone to use AI. But we've got these greedy fuckers like Zuckerberg who think that they're smarter than the rest of us. Like they can. No, we don't. Trust me, I know how to handle these things. Okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, come on. I invented Facebook. What makes you think I can't handle this? All right, and it's just not. I don't think he should be fucking with the shit at all, man. Truthfully, I really don't. I think what they really ought to do is just completely shut down all AI now before it's too late. Because AI is a bad idea. We know it's a bad idea. We've been warned it's a bad idea. I sat there and watched Zuckerberg drink water for a freaking 5 minutes the other day because he knew it was a bad idea. This is the thing about these guys. They don't care. They think they're smarter than the rest of us. In fact, that's the problem with most millennials today is they're disillusioned. They don't have any real concept of actual reality because they've spent their entire life playing Grand Theft Auto and playing these games that are meant to desensitize you. And then they get out into the real world and they got to come up with jobs, make money. And so they come up with ideas like Bitcoin and Facebook and all this stuff that's completely imaginary. Okay. This stuff only exists in a virtual reality. It doesn't exist in the real world. It's like this millennial came up to me the other day with this idea on how to solve the world's problems by just wiping out all debt and then starting everybody off at the same level. Which, in theory sounded like an okay idea, but at the same time, I was like, dude, what about the people who aren't going to do that? Okay, you have this idea, it sounds great in theory, but trust me, the guy who's got $800 billion is not going to let you tell him that he doesn't have $800 billion anymore, and that everybody goes back to zero, and that guy can hire people to kill you if you become too big of a fucking problem. And he kind of just looked at me like, I don't understand what you're talking about. And I'm like, that's the problem. You live in a fucking fantasy. And that is the biggest problem right now in our world today is the number of people who are just completely living in a fantasy world. I'm sorry. And some of these people, especially people like Zuckerberg, wait, here he is. I got a video for you. Here's Zuck. Here's the Zuck. See if this one works. There we go. There he is.
Activities and collecting information. Facebook has a responsibility to protect this personal information.
Look at this guy in the background.
We had a good discussion.
Those are his
yesterday.
lawyers, by the way. They both look like
over all of this.
They're kind of tweaked out a little bit.
You told me that the company.
The chick definitely barely keeping her eyes open.
I gave the relatively harmless.
And they put the fat white girl in front of the brunette because the brunette's probably,
Facebook
the one who's down on her knees.
Indicate that
kind of looks like Julie, actually.
Chocolate. And
except with a nicer nose job.
All of a sudden, I start receiving advertisements for chocolate. What if I don't want to receive those commercial advertisements?
And I'm glad that you all have gotten that message. As we discussed in my office yesterday, the line between legitimate political discourse and hate speech can sometimes be.
Mr. Zuckerberg, what is Facebook doing to prevent foreign actors from interfering in U.S. elections?
Foreign actors.
I only had one option for an ISP to use, and if I had to pay extra in order to make it so that my app could potentially be seen or used by other people, then we probably wouldn't be here today.
Okay, well,
that's probably the most honest thing
and
that
let me
Zuckerberg
just say,
said about that entire thing was like, hey, look, man,
this is going to be one of the major.
If I hadn't invented this shit,
It says,
we wouldn't be here today.
The terms govern your use of Facebook and the products, features, apps, services, technologies, software we offer. Facebook's products are products, except where we expressly state that separate terms and not these apply. I'm a lawyer, I have no idea what that means. But when you look at terms of service.
2 minutes left
All right.
to ask you questions. So you interestingly, the terms of what do you call it? The terms of service is a
you can do is to be a strong advocate yourself personally here in Washington. Just let me make that
Those
clear.
are his lawyers,
But
by the way, in
many
the
of
back
them
there.
recently really
Especially that guy there who sold his soul to the devil.
Business. I've always seen technology as a promise
he's
to
paying more attention than
democratize our
Mark is
nation,
because he's going to have to answer those questions for real.
opportunities.
And then look at
But
all these tech
unfortunately, we've
guys in the
also seen how
background.
platforms,
These are
technology
all Mark's
platforms
people.
like Facebook, that
They're
there was an
like he's looking at the file on the senator
something that's
who's
very
talking to
disturbing
him
to
right
me
now,
is
and
the
they
fact
don't even
that
have to
there
have wires
been,
anymore.
law enforcement
They're feeding Mark
organizations that use
information.
Facebook's platform,
Like, yeah, we've got this guy,
to
humping his dog on his Instagram.
Start with
I got this one over here,
of questions, just
pictures
so
of her
make sure I
granddaughters
understand your previous testimony.
on spring break last year. We got this one here with,
specifically with
the
regard
dirt
to
that they have on
process by
everybody
which
now.
Cambridge
It's
Analytica
ridiculous. And look at
was able to
this guy.
purchase
He's just,
Facebook users' data.
uh-huh.
So it was an app developer, Alastair, thank you, I appreciate that. And then how much do you know, or have you tried to find out how Cambridge Analytica used the data
I think
while
Mark
they had it?
Zuckerberg
And
has
will
small
you?
hands.
Senator Johnson.
Have you
Thank you, Mr.
noticed
Chairman.
that? He's
Thank
got like
you,
this,
Mr.
remember the
Zuckerberg, for
commercials where they
testifying
had
here
the
today.
small hands guy?
Do you have any idea how
He was
many of
afraid to
your
get Big
users
Macs because they
actually
just made his
read
hands look
the
smaller.
terms of service, the privacy policy, the
They
statement
need
of
to
rights
get
and
Mark a bigger,
responsibilities? I mean, actually,
smaller
Senator
glass.
Capito.
Thank you, Chairman Grassley. Thank you, Mr. Zuckerberg, for being here today. I want to ask just kind of a process question. You've said
Tens of millions of Americans, largely without any knowledge of their own. Who and how we choose to share our opinions is a question of personal freedom. Who we share our likes and dislikes with is a question of personal freedom. This is a troubling episode.
Into the record without objection.
Without objection, so ordered.
And just a quick sort of
He's got a new bottle of
wrap-up
water now.
question, if you will, and maybe one
Slipped him
quick
a new
comment.
bottle of
But
water. He's on his second
you've
bottle
answered
now.
several questions about efforts
trying
to
to look
keep bad
like he really
actors,
gives a
whether that's a
shit.
terrorist group to a malicious foreign agent, off of your platform. You've also heard concerns about bias at Facebook, particularly bias against conservatives.
You think Mark's got caught
And
now?
I just as
His
a
eyes do look a
final
little
question,
red.
can
I
you
wonder if
assure
he
us
got
that
baked
when you are improving
before
tools to stop bad
he went
actors,
out there.
that
And you
you
notice
will
he's
err
wearing
on
a
the side
blue
of protecting
tie,
speech,
which,
especially
if
political
you
speech.
don't know what
Innovation,
that means,
Chairman
he is
Grassley,
not with the
Mr.
Republic.
Zuckerberg has answered
He
a
is
lot
a
of questions
Democrat.
today,
He's
but there are
liberal
also
scum.
a lot of promises to follow up with some
They're
of our
all wearing
members.
blue ties,
And
meaning
which
Republicans
means
and
they're all
Democrats.
liberal scum.
Well, I tried
I
to
wish
explain
Mark
to
had
them
worn like the
that they
whole
kind of get a
They Live
obtuse
outfit. That would have been perfect. He'd worn the striped tie and the
what would you
pinstripe
say,
suit,
review of what
but-
goes on here, because controversy makes news.
And yeah, there he is, everybody. There is the Antichrist, and there's his backyard in its current state of condition right now. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that because I think Mark he deserves credit for going down there and just letting those guys know how much dirt he's got on all of them. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he's got, and that's the other thing. If you notice, they all wanted to know, well, do you have a file on me? Could somebody just call up and be like, hey, man, I want the file on Krazy Red? Mark would be like, well, that would be a breach of etiquette or contract. Like, you got etiquette. Come on, give me a break. But I'm going to tell you what's going to happen is Zuckerberg is going to offer privacy protection for money. It's going to be like extortion. He's going to extort all of these Congress people, all of these people. They're going to get extorted. Trust me on this. Zuckerberg's going to run for president.
Flower ice cream, hard cookie necklace. I could show you hidden things, stolen lives.
Ah, here she is.
Eaten heads. You the car baby on your road. Find out where you are. Wow! Wow!
Wow!
I'm being discriminated and filtered on YouTube, and I'm not the only one. So recently, they also attacked my Persian channel, Nasim Snaps. And if you go and check my videos, you see that my new videos hardly get views, and my old videos that used to get many views stopped getting views. So this is because I'm being filtered.
İnsana bu suda üzməkdən, o nədir day? Bir dana zul,
See, this is
bəni
why,
yemə, bəni yemə, zul, bəni yemə.
she needed a husband
And
for
another
a problem.
thing, they age restricted my ab workout video. A video that has nothing bad in it, nothing sensual. Why they did that? Because it's got famous and was getting many views. So they age restricted that video to keep it from getting views.
She's telling the truth, by the way, people. I am a YouTuber, and I can show you my analytics. I can show you how they do this. I'm not saying everybody should just
دارم به بدن خودم
freak out
میرسم
and go
و توی
off
باشگاه و
and
24 ساعت
do what
ورزش
she
میکنم.
did.
نه.
That's what but I think the point of all that is that we're serious about this YouTube shit. And she obviously couldn't handle it anymore. And I've been there. Her numbers aren't even as big as mine. And yeah, I don't know what to say about all that. It got heady down there. I don't want to make fun of it too much. It's not that funny. Especially considering that this woman, like, blew her brains out afterwards. And I don't even know if she's a woman. She looks kind of like she could be maybe not a woman. Maybe she's an it. I don't know. There's been rumors going on about her. MK Ultra made her snap. You know, whatever. All I do know is that all the stuff she was bitching about on her channel was true. And it's kind of interesting how they just took all her stuff down after that. Although, I mean, she did attack them, so I do understand that. But see, my whole point in all of this is, you know, with Zuckerberg, with Salmon or whatever her name is, the YouTube lady who went crazy, is you one of the reasons why America works, one of the reasons why like people like Zuckerberg are even able to exist and create apps that take over the world, okay, and is because we have these certain freedoms in America. And one of those freedoms is the freedom of speech. And when you start to censor speech, when you start to silence people's voices, when you start to just shut people down because they may not be what you think is cool, you run the risk of having to deal with people who come after you in that way. And I'm not saying that it's right, okay? I'm just saying that two wrongs are what you're going to get. You keep doing people wrong, you keep cutting down people's voices and making it so that certain people can't be heard, and those people are going to come after you, okay? And not every one of those people is going to be whacked out homeless people or spinsters sitting at home still living with their parents and whatnot. Some of those people are going to be serious people that you don't want to piss off. And if I was Zuckerberg, I would be more concerned about which one of those congressmen or senators has got some of those kinds of people already in their employ. Because that's where it gets dangerous. You know what I mean? I mean, look at Larry Flint. Larry Flint thought he could fight for free speech on the platform of pornography, and somebody took a shot at him. Okay, everybody's wondering who's going to take a shot at Trump. Well, Zuckerberg, you're on that list too now. I think when it comes to a few people, not me personally. I personally, I don't even own a gun, and I don't even have any interest in really getting guns. I wish they would just get rid of guns. Period. Like instead of like militarizing the police, I wish we were disarming the police and disarming the citizens and just getting rid of all these weapons and go back to some like Bushido, stick fighting style mano a mano shit. But not since the Revenge of the Nerds days have we lived that way. And that's another big part of our problem here in America is we're not allowed to be human anymore. Now we have to be robots. Now we have to conform. We have to be AI. And everybody's getting their news on Facebook. And I bet you nobody will see this, but if I was to put up a video of like some guy about ready to date rape a girl, it would get 100,000 views before they shut me down. It's like and then everybody would follow that link to whatever porno site it was that I just posted that on. And this is what's scary about Facebook now is this shit's getting through all the time, and yet Diamond and Silk are getting shut down. So, And that's the other thing. It's like they don't want people to know that there's conservative people out there.
Press on nails because of all the active things you do? Well, if you're ready for beautiful,
They want to keep that
natural
shit quiet.
looking, easy to apply nails, pre-colored in 7 luscious hues, just
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep.
Oh, goddamn hacker, that second damn night that asshole's cut in.
The movement was begun 8 months ago by a small group of scientists who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent through.
It's giving me a headache. Yeah, tell me about it. Us took the hackers months to figure out how to do this.
The poor and the underclass are growing. Racial justice and human rights are non-existent. They have created a repressive society, and we are their unwitting accomplices. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered. That is their primary method of survival. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated.
They're pulling the water out of the sand like sponges.
Blow it out your ass.
Yeah. Without a continuing rainfall,
Hey, everybody's Krazy Red here coming at you live. And that was a little excerpt from that's where They Live, which is an 80s sci-fi movie which talked about how we are already into the Matrix then. And if you don't know, we've been in the Matrix now for a while. I think they turned it on back in the 60s or 70s. And it's just scary how this message keeps getting put out there to the people, but the people just don't seem to be waking up to the fact that this shit's real, man. You know, first it was They Live, then it was the Matrix, now it's Ready Player One. Zuckerberg, he totally admits that he's got AI already working for him. And I guarantee you they're all within a data bank somewhere. They're not even robots, but artificial intelligent programs living in their own version of the Oasis somewhere, thinking that they're just kids in Santa Cruz making YouTube videos. And that's the really scary, trippy part about a lot of this, that it's just not cool. And hey, there I am. I wanted to bring myself in here. Hi, everybody, Krazy Red, coming at you live, not dead. By the way, in case you're wondering what the new Krazy Red Dead videos are about, the bottom line is because of my conservative views, I have been put in Facebook jail for a while, so we're actually operating on a different page. Don't tell anybody. But YouTube, Facebook, I'm in the same category apparently as Diamond and Silk. I can tell you, and I have the proof of it. I have the thing. Your content could be dangerous to the community and to yourself. I'm serious. And I was actually, I was talking about gun control. Yeah, I was talking about gun control right around the time that there was I forget what shooting it was, to be honest with you. There's been so many shootings lately. What shooting was it? I think it was the one with the kids. Yeah, with the kids down in was it Florida, or I forget. Like I said, there's just so many shootings, and how that kid ended up with an AR-15 is beyond. I just don't get it. Okay, like I'm definitely for the regulating of guns. Okay, but not disarming citizens. Okay, I would like to see them regulate both, citizens and law enforcement, because some of these cops don't need guns. In fact, some of these cops, if you've noticed, like when I was a kid, cops used to have a certain amount of, I guess you call it empathy. You know what I mean? Like if you got caught um, drinking with your buddies, they'd pour out your beer and they'd send you home. Now they mace you and they tase you and it's like they're programmed, and it's like, the other thing is, back in my day, cops used to be like heroes. You know what I mean? They used to be like these guys who were like 6'2" and took good care of themselves, and you know they were like your local town heroes. Now it's like they're like 5'6" and they weigh 200 pounds, and they're a bunch of fat fucking nerd fucks who got picked on in high school with guns now. So it's like they're purposely going out of their way to get the most sadistic people, and the most, you know, people who are obviously malleable, okay? Instead of finding people who have good, strong moral values and who won't do bad things, they're getting these people who are just sadistic, vengeful. Um, and my recent little visit to Buncombe County, I got to see it real clear, man. It was like they literally had some of the scum of the earth, some of the worst people I ever met in my life as law enforcement. And these were redneck hillbilly motherfuckers who had half their teeth because they did too much meth. And these were the prison guards, These were the people telling me, and they would even fuck with me. They stole my commissary on me and shit because I had money in jail, and so they didn't like that. And so they would, oh, well, I don't know what happened to your commissary, blah, blah, blah, blah. It's fucking bullshit, man. Uh, People feeding off of people like this is sick. And that's the problem with our world now, is we have people are becoming like pararas, or if you don't know what that means, like, life feeds on life. That is true, okay? Without people, feeding off of each other, that life wouldn't exist. But it's got to the point now where we're heading into the zombie apocalypse, people. We're heading into um, a place where the only people who are going to survive what's coming next are the people who are willing to resort to cannibalism. Okay. And the elite, I think, are already into it. I think they're already pushing this agenda of pedophilia, cannibalism on us, adrenochrome. All these things have now become big buzzwords in our society, as well as narcissistic, sociopathic, abusive behavior, and empathy, and all these other things we're talking about. That's because everyone has become a narcissist now, by the way. That's what social media has done to our society. It has made an entire society of narcissists. And okay, I was already a narcissist and a megalomaniac before all that shit happened. I was always one of these guys who was under the spell of rock and roll, wanted to become famous. Okay, and so even when I was out and found paradise and it disappeared into the jungles, I still wanted to be famous. I was still making videos, making movies. But then somewhere along the line, I switched over and wanted to actually educate people. It had something to do with little fairy put a spell on me out there in the jungle. But I started wanting to teach people about GMO, and I wanted to learn more about these things. And as soon as I became aware, as soon as I started like using this thing up here and trying to come up with ways to use my own social media to educate people, that all of a sudden, bang, now you're getting shut down, Red. You should have just stuck to fairy girls, and crazy sound healer chicks, and just putting up the wahinis and selling the sex, then and the exotic locations, and showing people like all the places the white man has exploited and is going to continue to exploit, then you would have been okay. But no, you had to go and fuck with the elite in their little playground out there in Kauai, and then you had to go and start getting conservative on everybody and talking about values, things like that. And that was the whole thing when we were in North Carolina. The whole plan was we were going to make this channel to educate people how to act locally and think globally, and that's when they came and busted me. And for fucking hemp, people, for hemp, for growing hemp, yeah, and didn't even have any buds, And then of course Julie, she showed real backbone on that one. She just totally threatened to snitch on me and my friends, and she knew the landscapers were gonna call the cops. She didn't even bother to mention that fact, by the way, which is one of the reasons why I don't have any sympathy whatsoever for any problems I cause that woman on anything that happens to do with her, because she's another one of these Zuckerberg people that just thinks that they can do whatever they want as long as their friends and family protect them, as long as they have money, as long as they still get to live in a nice little beach house their parents own out in Rehoboth somewhere. They can just do whatever the fuck they like, and it doesn't matter. And anybody who's poor or anybody who is on the fringe has a crazy message, they just discredit them. Oh, he's crazy. He's got paid from his childhood. Blah, blah, blah, blah, blah. Fucking bullshit. Okay, it's like, this is the thing I love about these new age healer people, by the way, is to me they're like Catholics. I was baptized or Christianed, whatever, Protestant, but I was raised by Catholics. My stepmother was Catholic and her whole family was Catholic. But they didn't really take it that seriously anymore. But they made my brother and sister go through Catholic school. They didn't make me go through it. I was the rebellious one. But they baptized me Methodist. I went to Sunday school, and then I just dropped out. I don't really put much faith in the church, actually. I have plenty of faith in Christ. I just don't have much faith in the church, because the church has got twisted for so long, and they'll sit there and argue with you over whose version of the King James Version of the Bible is the right one, when it's clearly states in the Bible itself that there's a lot of other books out there that we should be reading. But my point in all that was that, these people, I saw a thing the other day on Facebook about New Age healing, and it was like, it was one of those like meme things, make people feel good about themselves kind of meme things. But it said, it's not a healer's job to heal you. It's your job to heal yourself. I'm like, what the fuck are you calling yourself a healer for then? Because where I come from, healers are supposed to heal people. That's what they're supposed to do. If they're not healing people, then they're not healers. They're charlatans. To call yourself a healer and then tell people, well, it's not my job to heal you. You have to heal yourself. Is kind of bullshit. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's like Zuckerberg's like, it's not my job to know if people are smart enough to figure out that they've been swindled. No, it's my job to swindle them. That's how these healers work too. Like, it's not my job to tell people that I'm full of shit. It's my job to lie to people and get them to pay me $150 for a fucking crystal healing. Give me a fucking break. You're fucking scum. People like you should be just taken out. Really. I hate to say it. Like, I'm waiting for the end of the world to come, people. I really am. Just so, like, I can go and hunt down all you elitist douchebags who ruined everything because you're such selfish little scum, and put you in your place. That's for real. And I don't care. That's not hate speech. That's the truth, man. Trust me, and I'm not the only one who feels that way. That's why they're militarizing the police force. That's why the elite are all moving out of the country. It's why, they're scared. They really are. They're scared. And then there's people who are waking up too, who are actually like Diamond and Silk. What are these two black ladies doing being Trump supporters? They're supposed to be voting for Hillary Clinton, and it's like, no, because people aren't that fucking stupid. Okay, there are people out there, especially those who are lit up with the Lord, okay, who know. It's like when Oprah Winfrey tries to talk about spirituality and she gets shut down by some Christian woman in the back room, the back aisle, that's like, no, no, no, no, no. There's only one word, sister, and you ain't preaching it if you're going to sit there and preach all this other bullshit. Oh, and then what's Oprah say? I'm not here to have a religious debate with you. Oh, but you're here to preach spirituality, but you don't want to debate about God. That's kind of screwed up, okay? And I'm sure by now somebody's, there's an AI robot somewhere who's living in a virtual reality where he just has gay sex all the time, who just completely freaked out and he's now, beep, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert. Shut down the Crazy Red show. He's going gorilla on us and he's broadcasting with another thing. We gotta shut him down. Ah! Hey, man. You can silence our voices, but sooner or later, something's gonna give, and people know the difference between right and wrong in their hearts. And anybody who thinks they can fool the world will find out. Like the David Bowie song, like the man who sold the world. Anyway, I'm tired of looking at myself here. Let's see if I can come up with a cool video to throw in here for this live broadcast. Have you guys seen Ready Player One yet? You guys go out and blow your money out on that yet? If you don't know, that's real. Okay, that is already totally 100% real, by the way, people. They Live is 100% real. The Matrix is 100% real. It's all real. It's all 100% real. And if we don't do something about it, we're all going to be MK Ultra experiments at some point or another. And here's a good one. Oh no! If I put on the Secrets of Oprah, they'll turn me off for sure. It's one thing to put up like They Live sci-fi clips, stuff like that. Let me see if we got any other videos. Maybe I'll put up a Crazy Red video. So in the world of Red, here's something fun to watch. I've been watching a lot of this stuff lately because I've been looking for the Illuminati symbols and all this too. Yeah, here we go. Look, it's Hawaii. See, there's the piper. There's the piper playing his pipe.
sun rises up so high, lost in another.
By the way, I have always had the biggest crush on Olivia Newton-John ever since I was like 4. In fact, this movie could be part of the reason why. Like, if they're gonna make clones, they should just make clones of Olivia Newton-John. Like, you could make clones out of all these girls, and, you know, probably make any guy happy. Any one of them. If you don't know, they're the Muses, by the way. They're here to inspire art and music. And some believe they were the women that were taken by the Nephilim to create of the Nephilim, the monsters. Basically, the Muses were the ones that like inspired the fallen angels to fall to earth and top of it. And that's why you see the pipe being played in the very beginning of the clip. Let you know that the piper is another symbol for the devil. Has come to lead you on astray. Oh, and this is where they take off. They all go running around the world. Oh, wait, one decided to come back. Oh, who is it? Of course, which one would you want? Come on, I would keep her. Anyway, that was a little fun thing I like to call fucking with Xanadu. And the reason why I got Xanadu clips is I'm studying Xanadu right now, and I'm going to show you like all the intense Illuminati stuff that's in Xanadu. See, they programmed me when I was a kid with Led Zeppelin and Xanadu. That was what got me. That's what made me a megalomaniac. Was, you know, instead of going to Sunday school, I was sitting at home watching Xanadu on HBO and listening to Led Zeppelin records and like, you know, dipping into my parents' weed stash. Anyway, it's a Monday morning here. It's 11:20 a.m. here in Nashville, Tennessee. It is cold, people. It is freaking cold here, right? It's mid-April, and it's like 40 degrees out in Nashville, Tennessee. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is unusual. Okay? I know there's been a lot of stuff. I mean, I used to live up in Pennsylvania, so I know that it's not that unusual to get a mid-April snowstorm. In fact, it's even snowed in May up in some parts where it's real cold up there. But usually it's warm down here. And look, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I've been looking into a lot of crazy stuff lately. That's the only problem with the internet is you give a guy like me the internet, and once he's gotten over porn, forget about it. It's all conspiracy, man. It's like what are these guys doing? What are they doing? What is this all about? What? Which is why I just spent hours on YouTube looking at that stuff, which kind of makes me wonder. You know, it's like to me, it's like fake news to counteract the real fake news. You know what I mean? But it's all fake. There's like none of it's real because the minute you say anything really real, they shut you down. You know, they don't want the truth out there. Period. Because the truth would wake people up and enlighten them, and then they would come after people, and like they'd have to really enforce all this crap. But we apparently, the world's going to end what, Wednesday? The world's going to end on Hump Day. So I hope everybody out there gets a good hump on. Me personally, I feel like the chick from Fight Club, the one that was dying of cancer. I just want to have sex. I got some lube. I got some pornographic magazines. Okay. Here's the trip. This is some stuff that I've been looking into, and they talk about terraforming, and they talk about how the chemtrails are terraforming our planet, and people ask the question, well, who would be terraforming our planet? And I have a feeling maybe it's these guys right here. Check this out. It's one of my favorite videos, and this is one I've looked into. This is some real science here, people.
Most of us have heard about the face on Mars and repeated accusations that NASA has been covering up the truth. The release of 65,000 photographs from NASA's Mars Global Surveyor has now put us on the fast track to discovery about a past intelligent civilization on the Red Planet. This is NASA's uncover-up, if you will. Strap yourself in. We're about to see compelling proof of artificial structures on Mars that could have profound implications for the history of the human race. This is a sculpture by artist John Sheldon of the famous
There's pyramids on Mars?
Photographed by NASA's Viking probe in the Cydonia.
There's pyramids on Mars. There's pyramids at the bottom of the ocean. There's pyramids in Antarctica. Something's telling me that there may have been a sentient life form in our solar system that had like stuff everywhere. Mars, Earth, Saturn, Tiamat.
To have been formed naturally. And then there are the glass-like tunnels, which are at least 60 feet in diameter with exposed sections running 1,000 feet long.
Wow.
The tunnels are amazing.
Tunnels.
You may be looking at nothing less than the ultimate proof of an ancient civilization that used these tunnels for water or perhaps even for transportation. Before I turn the microphone over to Brian O'Leary, I have something I want to show you over to your left.
Whoa!
Mars is back.
What is that?
This sculpture is made by artist Salvador Rizzilio and based on the original Viking photograph of the face on Mars. It shows a giant sphinx-like
Did you ever wonder why they called it the Viking?
And now a new photograph has been released.
Aren't Vikings like Anglo-White Saxon people that go around raping and pillaging and taking everything over?
Sit up and take notice. It's an entirely new face on Mars, and this time appears to be the face of a woman wearing a crown.
Science is going through a major revolution. There's no question about it. We are living in exciting times in spite of what government agencies might tell you. And probably in no area has there been more misunderstanding than in the area of the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. In 1976, the Mars Viking orbiter imaged a mile-long mesa that resembles a human face staring straight up into space.
Mile long, people. Hear that? Mile long.
Objects of interest in the surrounding areas. This began a 25-long period of scientifically inappropriate actions, including the initial denial of a second corroborating image of the Cydonia face, the use of improper optical algorithms and filters on the high-resolution face image for example, the initial Mars Global Surveyor photograph, holding back or delaying the release of images from the public, and providing premature negative interpretations of their possible artificiality. Also, we have seen in NASA a lack of cooperation with qualified outside investigators, including campaigns to discredit the inquiry. How could this have happened? Perhaps NASA and its contractors and other agencies are following a secret policy to deny evidence for extraterrestrial intelligence, pursuant to a 1961 Brookings Institution report recommending non-disclosure to the public.
So for the first of these, I should stress that all of the images we're going to look at are in the general category of if we saw them on Earth, we would conclude that they were the activity of either humans or large-scale biology on Earth. Now, there are arguments why these are not normal products of nature, and certainly nothing like them exists on any of the other moons or planets of the solar system that we have imaged to date. The next picture is in a different category of glassy tubes.
So this is what's interesting about Mars.
Glassy
And these guys are kind of boring, but
in dozens.
not only are there these structures up there which don't exist anywhere else in our solar system that we've found yet, although I wouldn't be surprised if we find pyramids on Saturn or on one of the moons of Saturn eventually. But Mars is radiated by nuclear fallout. And in the past, science has tried to explain this by sun radiation flares, okay, which is also one of the things that they say they're spraying chemtrails for, to protect us from the Earth. The reason they're spraying chemtrails, by the way, is because they've put all these fucking holes in the ionosphere, and their HAARP weapon is fucking up the ionosphere, and now they got to spray these chemicals to try and repair the ionosphere, but fucking shit show, people telling me.
Radial structure around a central trunk. We can see several levels of branching. We can see shadows cast.
You see, they're showing you there's trees on Mars, prehistoric trees that have been probably made to, what do you call it, petrified now. Some of these trees used to be on Earth, too, like the Avatar movie.
Here's the category of infrastructure.
But here's the interesting thing about Mars, okay? Mars is radiated isotopes, which only occur during nuclear fallout, and they've proven now, pretty sound science, that Mars, in fact, was nuked, not once, but twice. Two major nuclear explosions took place on Mars 250 million years ago.
Not randomly placed at all, but
around the same time that the other planet, which is referred to as either Tiamat or Krypton, believe it or not, yes, Krypton, was also destroyed.
One is that
there's definite evidence that Mars was destroyed by nuclear warfare, and that there was another planet in our solar system that was also destroyed. Although we haven't proven that that one was destroyed by nuclear warfare, but that one was pulverized. That one was bigger, about the size of Saturn.
At an unknown time, but
was in the very same close proximity as Mars.
And
for
that pole shift, the face on Mars,
for all we know, they had interactions with each other and went to war with each other. For all we know, Star Wars is real, people. And George Lucas has just been the guy conscribed to sort of like explain it to us.
This is at another location on Mars near the famous dark marking Syrtis Major.
Now that one,
located about a quarter away around the planet.
It looks like a carving, but it also looks like it could just be
artist's addition to the original image shown here. Don't let that detract from the original image shown on the left. But there are some of us, we divide into left and right brain groups, and the left brain groups seem to prefer the help of the artist, and the right brain groups kind of think that detracts. So in the case of this, which is a sample of the kinds of artistic imagery we're seeing on Mars, one of many, it is really the interrelationships and the context which establish artificiality. Nonetheless, the fact that we have a second impressive face on the planet and probably indications of a few more too, not quite so impressive, tell us again that those a priori odds that do apply to the second and third instances, that these are statistically significant and telling us that the planet has artificial structures on it, and that these are not repeated instances of freakish chances of nature. In this image, by any artist, it is just rearranging the features you see by computer instructions to restore a high angle of lighting, put the shadows in the right place, and to restore an overhead view from this oblique view to one side. And here's what happens when we do that. There's the lighting restored, and now we rotate to a view from above. And this is what the object actually looks like, as best we can tell at this point. So both the other scientific arguments and the new view of the face certainly have our attention with regard to perspective artificiality of this object, but there is more. In this image, to the amazement of everyone, including the scientists involved who made these predictions, we can see two nostrils at the end of the nose, we can see an iris inside the eye socket, we can see an eyebrow feature over the eye socket, we can see that the mouth does consist of parted lips. All of those predictions,
You know, if you were like an
that were made
alien
in advance to distinguish
civilization and you
artificial from
wanted to
natural
mark
were fulfilled in favor of an
planets
artificial or built object
to let
in this
people
image.
know like what they could find on the planet, that would be a way to do it. We have these kinds of structures on Earth too. So. All right, Amplex videos, by the way, guys. I try to give credit to these creators because, you know, they do a great job, man. Some of these guys just put out some cool stuff. I'm not trying to take credit for their work. I'm just trying to figure out whether they're right or not. You know what I mean? I'm here like you, cruising the internet, looking at stuff and wondering, what's up with that? And I have nothing better to do. I can't get a job, people. You know, that's what happens when you get busted for growing hemp in North Carolina. You can forget getting a job after that. You can forget being able to rent a home after that. My only hope is to like either find another country or state to live in that will not hold all that shit against me. So I heard California is becoming a sanctuary state, which just means that everybody like me is going to end up there, which kind of makes me nervous. I did hear Florida recently legalized marijuana. But Florida is already kind of like, you know, a police Nazi state, especially southern Florida. And don't get me wrong, you know, Florida's okay and all, but there's so much ice and crack and all this other kind of shit goes on down there. You know, adrenochrome harvesting, things like that. But the AMC Awards are going to be in Vegas coming up, which I find really ironic that Nashville doesn't do it anymore. And I tell you, living this close to Nashville, I'm over it. It's becoming a shithole. Too many people are moving here. The price of living has gone super high. The originality that once existed here is gone. Everybody sounds like Tom Petty down here. You hear more Def Leppard covers on Broadway than anything else. You know, you might as well just be listening to classic rock radio whenever you walk down Broadway. You might get lucky and see the occasional celebrity superstar down there, but it's not worth it anymore. I mean, it just sucks that everything cool is getting ruined. You know, I guess it's my fault. I brought it on myself by being the guy who, you know, thought he could like make a YouTube reality show out of the valley. Which, you know, honestly, I never thought those videos would ever get that kind of attention. Anyway, I'm going to get the girls up here, get everybody back on the Flying Saucer Pizza Brigade, and my little virtual reality slut pack. And in case you're wondering, but in the backdrop there, that is a picture of Hanalei. Black pot. There is there's the bathroom right there, and then that takes you out to the pier. And I've literally, I think, hung a hammock in that tree, or maybe it's on the trees on the other side. But that tree ain't gonna make it if that gets any worse. And that picture was posted on Facebook. Here, I'll let you guys see the actual picture here one last time for a minute. That picture was posted by a fellow acquaintance of mine. I won't mention names, but they put that picture up on Facebook yesterday, and that is Hanalei. That's Hanalei Bay. I'm gonna take that out of there for now, and get some backdrop here going. But anyway, it's Krazy Red. It is 11:38. We are coming at you live at the Pizza, End of the World, and Sex Brigade. And it's where we talk about all things related to pizza, the end of the world, and sex. And look, I'm a more of a conservative person. I think people should be more respectful and learn how to use their sexual energy in ways that don't harm other people. We live in a world today where it seems like everybody's just out for themselves. There's not a whole lot of empathy out there anymore, and if you are an empath, then you probably want $150 an hour to, massage somebody with crystals, because that's how ridiculous all that shit's getting as well. But we here at Krazy Red World are just, doing our thing. But we're gonna be getting ready for a road trip. That's right, Red's getting back on the road this spring. It's coming up, and so I've got a project I'm working on right now, and I'm not sure how much of this I'm gonna put on the channel, because Red's starting to miss his anonymity. I mean, everywhere I go, people show up and they want to fuck with me, and I know that they're not just fucking with me because I got pretty long hair. They're fucking with me because they know who I am, and it's like this constant little reminder I get from the powers that be that it's like, oh, we know who you are, dude. We haven't forgot about you. In fact, we make sending rookies to go find you part of our job now. Because you got yourself so far up on the radar. Although we know you're just a flaky hippie dude, we still want to keep our, keep on you. And I just want to let you know, if you guys don't know what the triangulation is, what the Illuminati really is, people. Okay, the pyramid. I was watching a show, Night Gallery, which is an old, 60s, 70s TV show. And they had this, it's like the Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, where they show these stupid little stories. And there was one about a vampire who threw a party at a mortuary, and he goes in and he orders his own coffin and plans his own funeral. And the whole time he's talking to the guy, he's got this big ring on his one hand, and then he's doing this the whole time he's talking to the guy. He keeps doing this, and he keeps making the Illuminati triangle. And this is from the 60s. Okay, so there's a reason why all this Illuminati stuff, It's been in our pop culture for so freaking long. But my point in all that is like all these conspiracy theory nuts people and all the stuff that they put up on YouTube now, these videos that get hundreds of thousands of views, even though they're supposed to be getting taken down. Watch it now before it gets taken down. It's been out there forever, man. It's like the National Enquirer. You know what I mean? It's another fucking way for these guys to make money and to keep you watching TV, which is all they really want you to do. Watch more TV, people. Watch more TV. As long as I say watch more TV in all my videos, I guarantee you they'll never shut me down. They'll keep me going. Because they're like, yes, Red's finally learning it. He's getting it. He's almost ready to sell his soul. Sell your soul, swell your soul, swallow your soul, swallow your soul. That one's not working. I'm trying to find you guys a cool video here and get out of here after this. I gotta go get some supplies. Because Red is gearing up. Gearing up, baby. I'm gearing up. Gearing up. Red has decided not to return to Ina, but he has decided to return to the land. And soon we will be broadcasting elsewhere, somewhere in America. Hopefully elsewhere, somewhere not in America eventually. I want to go to Cuba. Can you go to Cuba? Like, is it possible just to go to Cuba, pretend you're Cuban? Probably not. They probably wouldn't buy me as a Cuban anyway. But they let Conan O'Brien go. So, I mean, if he can go to Cuba, I don't see why I can't go to Cuba. Anyway, here's a video of the fallen angels. Let's see if this one works. And I'm going to probably... Oh, here we go.
Are those fireworks? What is that?
Look like some fireworks or something.
Aliens? I don't know.
What the heck
What is that? You see it, right?
I'm actually, yes,
Okay.
I do see it.
Okay.
It's getting weirder by the second.
I know.
They're sticking around.